For Tottenham Hotspur to get where they want to be challenging for the Premier League title like our biggest rivals Arsenal are, we need to become bigger arseholes. That's what I'm sure it is all about. We have lost some of the arseholery that we had under Pochettino when we were at our best, and that Jose Mourinho wanted to ramp up even more. We've gone back. Now we have a younger squad, and they haven't learnt what it takes. I know this is controversial, but look at what Ben White was doing to Vicario during the North London derby. We need to get to that. The little things, the little extra inches, the little moments that can wind up oppositions, we need to get back to that. And I'm going to be talking more about that in today's episode of the Spurred On podcast, where I do a bit of a post-mortem into that Arsenal defeat. But before we get into that, please do press like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already on YouTube, and please do go over to the podcast platform, Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and give me a subscribe or a follow there if you like listening when you're out walking or driving. Every day I'll be releasing content for you about Tottenham Hotspur. But let's get into it. I want to do a little post-mortem, talk about the things that I've seen and learned having kind of rewatched the game, and now that I'm a little less angry and I'm a bit more removed from how I felt just after the 3-2 defeat. Firstly, I want to talk about the club mentality. I am actually now more in agreement with Ange than I ever was in terms of him not just having to come in and change the first team's mentality or the first team's style of play or the quality of the first team. He knows that he needs to change an entire club mentality. And I'm going to give you an example of how I think it shows that it's not just in the 11, the 1-11, that there's a mentality issue compared to some of our rivals. It's as a club, and he knows that he needs to change it from top to bottom, and that's going to take time. Since the Premier League started in 1992, Tottenham have only gone to Highbury or the Emirates, an away game in the North London derby, and won twice in the entire Premier League era since 1992. One of those wins was in 1993, right? In that time, Arsenal have come to White Hart Lane, or now the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and won on 7 occasions. So Ange isn't just fighting the tide of, can he beat Arsenal today? Can he go to the Emirates and win games in this day and age? He's fighting tradition. He's fighting history. And the history of clubs and how successful they've been in big derbies or in winning trophies, it adds up. And it gives you more confidence as a club, or if you're playing for that club, or if you're the fan base of that club, if you know that you've gone and had those big moments and succeeded in them. 2 of those 7 wins that Arsenal have been at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We've only been in there since 2019. Why can they come to our place, our fortress, or what should be our fortress, and turn us over, but we can never go to theirs and turn them over? Now, some of you might say, oh, well, a lot of those years was when they had the Invincibles or Arsene Wenger's early successful teams. Sure. But we've had, just before last season, 7 seasons. Certainly 5, 6 or 7 seasons of being better than Arsenal. And yet during that time, we couldn't go to them and win. There was one win in the League Cup. That was a great performance. Beautiful goal from Dele Alli with an amazing pass from Harry Kane. I'm not forgetting that. But in the Premier League, when it comes to the big games, we can't go there and do it, but somehow, because of their mentality, they can. It's the same at Stamford Bridge, at Chelsea. I hate to say it. I'll do my match preview for the Chelsea game tomorrow, but I'm so confident that Chelsea are going to win that game. Their fans will be up for it. Their fans hate them at the moment. They hate Pochettino. They hate the team. They don't rate them. They think the bottom has fallen out their club, but you can bet your bottom dollar, Stamford Bridge, Thursday night, the fans will be up for it. They've got the weight of history behind them. Do Spurs have the mentality? I don't think they do at this moment, but I do think that Ange is doing the right things to try and change it from the bottom up. It's going to take time. It's going to take patience. Let me know in the comments below if you think I'm being completely bananas, or do you agree with me? Second thing I wanted to talk about on the back of the Arsenal game, the importance of being clinical in the biggest games at the biggest moments, and how I think that will grow again with maturity and with time and within growth within the squad, in terms of as the players get older, as they get more experienced, as they know their place within the team and the squad, and as we bring in more players that will fit Ange's system. Think about how we were not clinical in that Arsenal game. 3 great Romero chances with his head. And let's not forget he scored a goal as well as that. And Son's one-on-one. Now think about the Arsenal chances. Pretty much scored every main chance they had. That's the difference in the tiny moments. And Arsenal are just further ahead in the project. And they've got better players further up in their potential. Saka. It's hard to say, but he's a brilliant player. He's annoying. He pretends to be injured all the time. But, let's face it, we were all lauding David Beckham back in the day when he was like the first English player to go down when he felt a touch. So, Saka's only doing what he has to do. And I'll get more onto that in a bit later in this episode, actually, because shithousery, arseholery, as I called it at the top of this video, vital. The next thing I want to talk about, I think we have to add, genuinely, the thought of physicality as an attribute to all the players we're looking to buy this summer. The way that we attack... I'm not going to talk about set pieces as a main thing. I've gone on about it until the cows come home. I've called it embarrassing time and time again, and it is. And that's why we now, when we look at the players that we're going to buy this summer, when Johan Lange and the recruitment team are putting the data together, they've got to include physicality. We are getting bullied. And actually, it's especially since that Chelsea game where we had 2 men sent off. The players are now a little bit more standoffish. We've got to bully teams at corners that they have. Vicario's a big guy. He's got to use his strength. He's got to have a defender helping him out like Pap Sarr was in the second half. But he's got to show that he's the boss. It's his 6-yard box. And then we really miss Harry Kane at the near post from defending corners. So we need to think, if we're going to buy another 9, we need to think about someone who's going to be loving attacking balls in the air from set pieces. We need a number 6 who's going to be physical like Rodri is for Man City. There aren't many Rodris about, but we need someone who is going to be good on the ball, good on the half turn, but physical and will attack the ball from corners because other teams are pinpointing us. They are having an amazing time. So we've got to think about that. Attacking the ball is everything. Physicality. We need to become monsters. And this leads me on nicely to what I was saying. Shithousery. What Ben White was doing, of course it's annoying, trying to wind up Vicario, looking like he was going to take his glove off. But he knows it's a distraction. That is shithousery. That is professional Premier League football. That's what it takes to get towards the top. Remember the Battle of the Bridge? When Spurs went to Stamford Bridge, they needed to win. At least, even though we didn't win that game, I'm talking about in the 15-16 season, we needed to win to have a chance of still winning the title. Even though we didn't win that game, that showed me everything about the change in Tottenham Hotspur's mentality under Pochettino. Because he was like, don't take any shit from anyone. You bite back, you give it, you be the arseholes. And we were. Lamela standing on people's feet. Dembele gouging his eye, Costa's eye. I'm not saying that's something you want to see, but I'm saying that when the going gets tough and you have to get into 50-50s, you have to win your duels, you have to win your battles, you need to have the edge and you need to know you're not going to get bullied. And it's not right to see someone like Ben White winding us up. We should be bullying Ben White. The game's at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. That's our job. It's our place, our fortress. You come to us and we will give you everything. And you will come off bruised and bullied. And we didn't. We're a softer touch. We need to learn that. And I think Big Ange will know that. I think he'll get it into them. We need to follow Christian Romero's lead more. What an A-star performance that was from him. He wasn't taking anything from anyone. I'm going to run and play up front because they're not really attacking. Arsenal just sitting back, 11 behind the ball. So I'm going to go up front and cause those 2 centre-halves who were just having a lovely Rolls Royce of an afternoon. Suddenly they didn't like it. Raya got spooked, kicked it straight to him. In terms of the shithousery and the professionalness that we need to show, stopping transitions at source. The Saka goal, perfect example, and we've conceded way too many of them. 2 players had gone down thinking it was a penalty. The Kulusevski one was a penalty. But then Maddison goes down, and then 2 players are out of the game, and 3 players are around the little football that Arsenal played just outside their own 18-yard box. That is when you have to show your professionalism, and you stop it at source. You get your tackle in there, slide tackle, take the man down, make sure that Arsenal cannot get the transition going, and if you do that, you won't get a yellow card there either because it's so far up the pitch. Ange has to be saying this. I'm sure he is. I'm sure he is drumming this into them. If you do everything that far up the pitch and you take your professional foul there, you won't even get booked for it because it won't be deemed to be such a stopping of counter-attack. Whereas if it's in your own half and you stop a counter-attack, you pull a player back with your shirt or you slide tackle them, you will get your yellow card. But that's what we've got to learn. They're the biggest things. They're the biggest changes we've got to make. And maybe when we bring in a new midfielder, assuming we're bringing in a new 6, Andy's going to want him to have a bit of bite about him as well, a bit of fire. People complain about how much Palhinha for Fulham gets booked. Maybe that's what we need. Someone with a bit of physicality who'll stop those transitions at source. Another thing I want to talk about. With confidence comes luck. No doubt we're lacking confidence at the moment, and we also didn't get any of the rub of the green against Arsenal, did we? The Van der Ven disallowed goal. I mean, yes, strictly offside, but, you know, when you're more confident, just those little fine margins. Maybe he if he's more confident, he runs a tiny bit quicker to get out with the defenders, and then he has the chance and he's onside. Hitting the posts. Bit of luck. It will come with more confidence. Decky not getting that penalty. I'm telling you, I know it sounds mad, but when you're a more confident team and you're on the attack all the time and you know exactly how to play and you know you're not going to lose these big moments and these big games, you get more of that luck. And it will come our way again, just like it did in the first 10 games of the season. Think about that Liverpool VAR thing. With confidence, with attacking, with being on the front foot, comes luck. It will come back. I'm so sure. I'm just going to end this video by saying I'm so sure that we are on the right road. I know it was difficult at the weekend. It was difficult at Newcastle. It's going to be difficult against Chelsea and Liverpool away at the weekend. But we're on the right road. Ange needs to get his squad together, the players he wants, and he will drill in what we need. I'm so sure of it. Guys, thank you so much for watching and listening. Do press that like button. Please do subscribe to my channel at Barnaby Slater _ on YouTube for daily Spurred On podcast content, and go over to Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Give me a follow and a subscribe and a rating there. Please don't be too despondent. Come on, you Spurs.